The UCLA Bruins and the Tennessee Volunteers. Boy, oh boy, we had a fun. These two teams have had, big dominant wins in their first round. It's looking like it's going to be a fun one today. Well, I guess not today. It's Thursday. We have these games on Saturday, but that's not the point. My name's Guy Franklin. I'm with Connor Hope, UCLA, Tennessee. Let's start out with the Bruins. What are you looking for them to pull off a potential upset?
I think two things. You you have to contain Chaz Lanier. I think if you can shut off the flow of points from Lanier and force the rest of this team, force Jordan Gainey to pick up scoring slack, force Kai Ziegler to get into the heart of your defense and try and score through Eric Daly and Tyler Bilodeau and Adai Mara. Force the front court to take up a bigger scoring role, Jemai Mashak to take up a bigger scoring role. You give yourself a really good shot to do what has been the death of Tennessee in so many tournaments, which is just shut off their scoring. This year, Tennessee's offense has been good. It has not been nearly as inconsistent as it has in the past. But they still, against Florida, they only scored 43. Against Auburn, they only scored 51. Against Kentucky, which is a really bad defense, they scored 73 and 64. Um, they had a game a while back against Illinois, uh, that was in the 60s, I believe. It's and it's not, I mean, they play slow, so that's like to be expected. But the Florida loss was by 30. One of the Kentucky losses was by double digits. Um, it's a lot easier to win when you're keeping Tennessee outside, like away from scoring 70, especially when this Tennessee defense is a whole lot better than the defense you just played.
Yeah, I mean, this is a slow on slow game. We know Mick Cronin has played slow since his days at Cincinnati, since his days at Murray State. Uh, this is a game that we are going to see. I don't want to say similar play styles clash, but it's going to be a pace that both teams are familiar with playing. Uh, Look, Rick Barnes has the regular season Rick moniker for a reason, right? He has historically struggled to close the door in March. And he's going up against a coach who has been historically very good in March. Uh, Now, obviously, this year can buck that trend, but just the way that I see this game is UCLA this year has had an absolutely hellish travel schedule, and I think some of that has led to the Bruins being on the 7 line, being 23-10 on the year. And I think compared to the talent that they have on the roster, the ability of coaching that Mick Cronin has, I think that they're somewhat underseeded. And people will talk about this as an upset and all that, but I don't think that Tennessee is that much better than UCLA. And I don't mean that as like a diss to Tennessee. Tennessee's a great team. I mean it more as like a lifting up UCLA type of way. And I'm sure that the comments will say like, look at my Dodger flag in the background and be like, "Oh, this guy is just, likes UCLA because he's from LA." Uh, that's not fully true. I I I will admit I picked UCLA in my bracket in this game. That's more of just a me making a joke about UCLA and Gonzaga's uncanny ability to find each other in the tournament. And I picked them both to play each other in the Elite Eight. But I think that for UCLA, a lot of this is going to come down to the backcourt matchup. I think that the way that the front court matches up, the big men, I like UCLA offensively. I think I like Igor Milicic a bit more defensively, just thinking about Adaimara and Tyler Bilodeau, you can absolutely turn a corner on Tyler Bilodeau if you can get him to switch on you. He gets on his heels. He struggles to move backwards, uh, and Adaimara just isn't quick at all. Uh, as far as Tennessee goes, I think Sky Clark is such a shifty player. That's always the adjective I use to describe him, is shifty. If he is able to stop guys from turning corners on him, if he is able to turn corners himself, get up floaters, uh, you know, make something happen, without a typical jump shot for him. He can hit the jump shots, obviously, but make something happen with, sending the ball towards the hoop in a general direction. And he can do that relatively uncontested. I think that that is where UCLA is going to dominate. That and, of course, feeding the big guys inside. Um, as far as Tennessee goes, we saw this in the game against Wofford. Obviously, nowhere near the same level of competition as UCLA, but it's Zakai Ziegler feeding guys, and typically the guy he's feeding is Chaz Lanier, right? Chaz Lanier is one of the prolific scorers. Zakai Ziegler is a prolific point guard. In the way that Rick Barnes coaches, those two are going to be highly emphasized in the offense. Mick Cronin is a great defensive coach. Rick Barnes is a great defensive coach, and we'll see how they want to attack each other that way. But I think that this is going to be a game where def the defensive play on both sides is going to work, and it's going to be how can these teams offensively figure out the other's defense.
So here's where I think UCLA can run into some issues. Not a lot, but some. If you look at the four games that were played in Kentucky today, um, the across the board, with the exception of Alabama State, like there weren't really a ton of fouls called.
Hmm.
And if you're UCLA, really, like one of the ways you want to
Well,
get this game.
this UCLA team fouls a lot more than most Mick Cronin teams do, and I think that might benefit them.
Right. But no, what I'm saying is that like UCLA is a much deeper team than
Yeah.
Tennessee. And I think one of the ways that you can put pressure on this Tennessee team is just attacking and trying to get fouls called because really like the backcourt Tennessee has no depth. I mean it's Meshack and Gainey, Lanier, and Ziegler playing the one through the three, just a four-man rotation. But in the front court, like you can get past, if you can get past like Milicic and Okpara, get to Cade Phillips, get to Dunbar, force Lanier to play the four, you can get a lot more mismatches in that front court, especially if a Daimara can play without fouling, um, and be the biggest body on the floor when he's out there, or the tallest body on the floor. You have the size advantage in the backcourt. So just use it. Like UCLA needs to, because what Tennessee does really well is Tennessee takes the aggression to their opponents. They take the physicality to their opponents. And I feel like UCLA needs to counter that by being the bigger aggressor. Um, Forcing Tennessee, who likes to settle for jumpers, to shoot a lot of jumpers. Um, because I think this game might actually be decided by how many points are scored in the paint. UCLA is a better 3-point shooting team, but they don't take as many. But I do think that whichever team can control the glass, control the paint, um, is going to win this game because I just don't think either of these teams can really run away from the 3-point line. And what UCLA did really well against Utah State, they only took 26 threes. They made 10 of them. They shot a really good percentage compared to their season average, but they forced Utah State to shoot a lot of threes and they were missing a lot of them. Uh, Tennessee has guys who can get like Zakai Ziegler for being 5'9" is really good at getting at the rim.
Hmm.
He is fantastic at getting at the rim. Um, you just need to make sure that you kind of cut off their paint scoring, force them where the only way they can score is jumpers. Because if they're not shooting well, or if you're forcing non-shooters like Zakai Ziegler, Jordan Gainey, even Milicic to shoot the three ball, like you're winning those possessions.
Yeah, I definitely think that's something. One thing to note as far as the fouling goes is that Alabama State was giving up a lot of size to Auburn. this Tennessee team is going to be giving up a lot of size to UCLA if the lineups shake out as we expect. Um, with Mara, with Bilodeau, with Daly, compared to Milicic, who, as a five man, I think is only about 6'9". I could be wrong on that, but off the top of my head, if I can remember. Listed at 6'10". I guess that's not as small as I thought. Um, but still, definitely going to give up size. One thing that's worth noting, this is a game being played east of the Mississippi River against by UCLA against a team that is from east of the Mississippi River. And if you ask Mick Cronin what their record was in those games, he would very happily tell you that it's under 500. So that might be reason to pick Tennessee. And also, Tennessee and Kentucky are just border each other. I think it's very possible.
Knoxville to Lexington is a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah, it's going to be a very Tennessee-based crowd. Uh, so I don't think that is in UCLA's favor. I mean, it's not. It's in Tennessee's favor. That's a huge variable. Uh, that being said, I still don't hate UCLA's odds in this game just because, I mean, like you said, I think it's gonna come up a lot with um, UCLA being able to force Tennessee to shoot threes, and that is something that they were able to do so successfully against Utah State. And just as a team, this Tennessee team shoots 34% from three. That is not terrible, but you can win a game against a team shooting 34, preferably lower if you're contesting them well from three. We'll get it. Let's get into predictions right now, Connor. What are you looking for? What do you think the score is going to be in this game?
Look at the teams that have beat Tennessee and have been able to score on Tennessee over the past month and a half. Um, Florida, Ole Miss, but that was like Ole Miss was what they were getting to the line. They were getting a lot of rebounds. Um, they're getting a lot of rebounds on the offensive end in that game. Kentucky has scored 75 plus against them. All really good teams, really good offenses. Ole Miss, I guess, is the most comparable in terms of like actual efficiency to UCLA. Uh, but here's the thing with Tennessee. There is one elite unit in this game. And by elite, I mean there is one unit in this game that is top 10 in the country, top five in the country, and that's Tennessee's defense. And I'm not sure. Like, I think it's going to be a really competitive game. But when it comes down to the team I trust more to get the stops, well, I trust UCLA to stop Tennessee more than Wofford did. I trust Tennessee's defense to just consistently get stops. And UCLA, I think, is going to have to rely a lot on their offensive rebounding and a lot on follow-up shots. But they can't Tennessee has one of the best rim protecting defenses in the country. So that, like I said, I think this game is won in the paint, and I think Tennessee has the advantage in the paint. So I'm going to take Tennessee. I was impressed with UCLA's offense in the game against Utah State. I thought their defense struggled a little bit preventing open looks. Utah State missed a lot of those open looks, but they also didn't get offensive boards, or they all didn't prevent offensive boards, I should say, UCLA. So they were giving up a lot of second chance opportunities too, which is why I don't necessarily trust them as much as Tennessee's defense to to uh to get those stops. I think it's going to be a one possession game. I think it's going to be low scoring. Give me Tennessee 65, UCLA 63.
Connor, you read my mind. I was going to say the exact same score for Tennessee. I was going to say Tennessee 65, UCLA 63. But just in the sake of being different, give me a Sky Clark logo three to win it at the buzzer. UCLA 66, Tennessee 65. Do I think that'll happen? No, but I don't want to say the exact same score as you. So we'll say I'll say that the score will be Tennessee 65, UCLA 63 with less than 10 seconds to go. What's the final outcome of the game? Who knows, but it'll be 65-63 Tennessee with somewhere between 1 and 9 seconds remaining in the game. Uh, that is the that's what I think is going to happen. But I think it'll be low scoring and I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a great game. So make sure you subscribe to the Sleepers channel. We're going to have previews and recaps up of every single March Madness tournament game. And we're going to have this game recap. Connor and I will be back here. So if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe. Even if you didn't, please subscribe because we love that. And, you know, it's March. It's March basketball. Previews, recaps, every game. What more could you want from the Sleepers Media channel?
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.